Okay, so let's make sure. Okay, we're live. Good. All right, so welcome to the stream, guys. My name is Bond Servant, and this is my first live stream Bible study. This is something that I'm going to start doing every Saturday because that is the real Sabbath day. And this is going to be my effort to keep it holy and educate you on the nature of God and why you should want to have a relationship with Him in your life. And however He leads me is how we will conduct these. So we're going to start with the book of Zephaniah today because this is the book that saved my life. And a brief kind of explanation, I guess, would be that I was gifted this study Bible by my mother Christmas of 2015. And it took me until after the Christmas of 2020 to actually open this Bible. And the reason I opened the Bible was because I knew that I was probably about to die, that somebody was probably going to kill me. And as crazy as that sounds, that's a real story. And I messaged my mother because I just wanted her to know that I didn't kill myself, because I just kind of figured, that would be the possibility. That's how people would find out and whatnot. So I messaged her. I said, Mom, I'm in a situation that there's no way out. And my mom and we weren't really on good terms at the time, but she messaged me back instantly. She said, lean on the Lord. So I thought, okay. And I opened up my Bible. Let's actually go to this first thing. The first thing I saw was at the very front a note that my mother had written to me, which said, Merry Christmas, Tyler. Which, that's my real name. As you read, you will come to understand why the world hates Christians and why Christians will die defending the Bible. May God bless you with a desire to know Him. And then I saw here that she gave it to me 5 years before, and I thought, wow, it took me that long to open this thing. That's how engulfed my life was in darkness. And so I thought, well, I don't really know what to do. So I said, Lord, I'll leave this up to you. And I just kind of Russian rouletted the Bible. Just flipped the pages, and where it ended up landing was on this book, the book of Zephaniah. And I can't remember the exact verse that I read, but as we read it here today, maybe I will remember. So I figured this would be a good place to start our Bible studies, as this was the book that saved me, and be a good place to start, and hopefully God's saving you. So let's get into it here. This is the introduction to Zephaniah. So as with, this is just that we're not actually reading the book yet. This is just kind of like an introduction into it in this study Bible, which is made by John MacArthur, which is a great disciple of Christ, great pastor. If you have questions, I'd suggest looking up him. His organization is Grace to You. So as with each of the 12 minor prophets, the prophecy bears the name of its author, which is generally thought to mean the Lord hides. Little is known about the author, Zephaniah. 3 other Old Testament individuals share his name. He traces his genealogy back 4 generations to King Hezekiah, standing alone among the prophets and being descended from royal blood. Royal genealogy would have given him the ear of Judah's king, Josiah, during whose reign he preached. The prophet himself dates his message during the reign of Josiah. The moral and spiritual conditions detailed in the book seem to place the prophecy prior to Josiah's reforms, when Judah was still languishing in idolatry and wickedness. So I skipped over the date there. This is set in 640 to 609 BC. It was in 628 BC that Josiah tore down all the altars to Baal, burned the bones of false prophets, and broke the carved idols. And in 622 BC, the Book of the Law was found. Consequently, Zephaniah most likely prophesied from 635 to 625 BC and was a contemporary of Jeremiah. So the background and setting: politically, the imminent transfer of Assyrian world power to the Babylonians weakened Nineveh's hold on Judah, bringing an element of independence to Judah for the first time in 50 years. King Josiah's desire to retain this newfound freedom from taxation and subservience undoubtedly led him to interfere later with Egypt's attempt to interdict the fleeing king of Nineveh in 609 BC. Spiritually, the reigns of Hezekiah's son Manasseh, extending over 4 decades, and his grandson Amon, lasting only 2 years, were marked by wickedness and apostasy. The early years of Josiah's reign were also characterized by the evil from his father. In 622 BC, however, while repairing the house of the Lord, Hilkiah the high priest found the book of the law. Upon reading it, Josiah initiated extensive reforms. It was during the early years of Josiah's reign, prior to the Great Revival, that his 11th hour prophet, Zephaniah, prophesied and no doubt had an influence on the sweeping reforms Josiah brought to the nation. But the evil kings before Josiah had such an effect on Judah that it never recovered. Josiah's reforms were too late and didn't outlast his life. So, historical and theological themes. Zephaniah's message on the day of the Lord warned Judah that the final days were near through divine judgment at the hands of Nebuchadnezzar, yet it also looks beyond to the far fulfillment in the judgments of Daniel's 70th week. The expression day of the Lord is described as a day that is near, and as a day of wrath, trouble, distress, devastation, desolation, darkness, gloominess, clouds, thick darkness, trumpet, and alarm. Yet even within these oracles of divine wrath, the prophet exhorted the people to seek the Lord, offering a shelter in the midst of judgment, and proclaiming the promise of eventual salvation for his believing remnant. Interpretive challenges. The book presents an unambiguous denunciation of sin and warning of imminent judgment on Judah. Some have referred the phrase, "I will change the speech of the peoples to a pure speech," to the restoration of a universal language, similar to the days prior to confusion of languages at the Tower of Babel. They point out that the same Hebrew word translated speech is also used in Genesis chapter 11, verse 7. It is better, however, to understand the passage as pointing to a purification of heart and life. This is confirmed by the context and corroborated by the fact that the word language is most commonly translated lip. When combined with pure, the reference to speech speaks of inward cleansing from sin, manifested in speech, including the removal of the names of false gods from their lips. It does not imply a one-world language. Okay, so that's our introduction into what this book is, who it's written by, why it's important for your salvation. So I'm not actually really going to be watching the chat here too much. I'm just going to read, and if there is anybody actually watching and you have questions, I'll review it afterwards. This is a study Bible, so if you do have questions about certain things that are said, there are notes I can refer to by John MacArthur, who has spent his entire life serving the Lord and studying all of this stuff. All right, so here we go. The word of the Lord that came to Zephaniah, the son of Cushi, son of Gedaliah, son of Amariah, son of Hezekiah, in the days of Josiah, the son of Amon, king of Judah. The coming judgment on Judah. I will utterly sweep away everything from the face of the earth, declares the Lord. I will sweep away man and beast. I will sweep away the birds of the heavens, and the fish of the sea, and the rubble with the wicked. I will cut off mankind from the face of the earth, declares the Lord. I will stretch out my hand against Judah and against all the inhabitants of Jerusalem, and I will cut off from this place the remnant of Baal, and the name of the idolatrous priests along with the priests, those who bow down on the roofs to the host of the heavens, those who bow down and swear to the Lord, and yet swear by Milcom, those who have turned back from following the Lord, who do not seek the Lord or inquire of him. The day of the Lord is near. Be silent before the Lord God, for the day of the Lord is near. The Lord has prepared a sacrifice and consecrated his guests. And on the day of the Lord's sacrifice, I will punish the officials and the king's sons, and all who array themselves in foreign attire. On that day I will punish everyone who leaps over the threshold, and those who fill their master's house with violence and fraud. On that day, declares the Lord, a cry will be heard from the fish gate, a wail from the second quarter, a loud crash from the hills. Wail, O inhabitants of the mortar, For all the traders are no more, all who weigh out silver are cut off. At that time I will search Jerusalem with lamps, and I will punish the men who are complacent, those who say in their hearts, the Lord will not do good, nor will he do ill. Their goods shall be plundered, and their houses laid waste. Though they build houses, they shall not inhabit them. Though they plant vineyards, they shall not drink wine from them. The great day of the Lord is near, near and hastening fast. The sound of the day of the Lord is bitter. The mighty man cries aloud there. A day of wrath is that day, a day of distress and anguish, a day of ruin and devastation, a day of darkness and gloom, a day of clouds and thick darkness, a day of trumpet blast and battle cry against the fortified cities and against the lofty battlements. I will bring distress on mankind, so that they shall walk like the blind, because they have sinned against the Lord. Their blood shall be poured out like dust, and their flesh like dung. Neither their silver nor their gold shall be able to deliver them on the day of the wrath of the Lord. In the fire of his jealousy, all the earth shall be consumed. For a full and sudden end he will make of all the inhabitants of the earth. Judgment on Judah's enemies. Now we are at chapter 2. Gather together, yes, gather, O shameless nation, before the decree takes effect, before the day passes away like chaff, before there comes upon you the burning anger of the Lord, before there comes upon you the day of the anger of the Lord. Seek the Lord, all you humble of the land, who do his just commands. Seek righteousness, seek humility. Perhaps you may be hidden on the day of the anger of the Lord. For Gaza shall be deserted, and Ashkelon shall become a desolation. Ashdod's people shall be driven out at noon, and Ekron shall be uprooted. Woe to you, inhabitants of the seacoast, you nation of the Cherethites. The word of the Lord is against you, O Canaan, land of the Philistines, and I will destroy you until no inhabitant is left. And you, O seacoast, shall be pastures with meadows for shepherds and folds for flocks. The seacoast shall become the possession of the remnant of the house of Judah, on which they shall graze, and in the houses of Ashkelon they shall lie down at evening. For the Lord their God will be mindful of them, and restore their fortunes. I have heard the taunts of Moab, and the revilings of the Ammonites, how they have taunted my people and made boasts against their territory. Therefore, as I live, declares the Lord of hosts, the God of Israel, Moab shall become like Sodom, and the Ammonites like Gomorrah, a land possessed by nettles and salt pits, and a waste forever. The remnant of my people shall plunder them, and the survivors of my nation shall possess them. This shall be their lot in return for their pride, because they taunted and boasted against the people of the Lord of hosts. The Lord will be awesome against them, for he will famish all the gods of the earth, and to him shall bow down, each in its place, all the lands of the nations. You also, O Cushites, shall be slain by my sword. And he will stretch out his hand against the north, and destroy Assyria. And he will make Nineveh a desolation, a dry waste like the desert. Herds shall lie down in their midst, all kinds of beasts, even the owl and the hedgehog, shall lodge in their capitals. A voice shall hoot, shall hoot in the window. Devastation will be on the threshold, for her cedar work will be laid bare. This is the exultant city that lived securely, that said in her heart, I am, and there is no one else. What a desolation she has become, a lair for wild beasts. Everyone who passes by her hisses and shakes his fist. Now we're at chapter 3. Judgment on Jerusalem and the nations. Woe to her who is rebellious and defiled, the oppressing city. She listens to no voice, she accepts no correction. She does not trust in the Lord, she does not draw near to her God. Her officials within her are roaring lions, her judges are evening wolves that leave nothing till the morning. Her prophets are fickle, treacherous men. Her priests profane what is holy. They do violence to the law. The Lord within her is righteous. He does no injustice. Every morning he shows forth his justice. Each dawn he does not fail. But the unjust knows no shame. I have cut off nations. Their battlements are in ruins. I have laid waste their streets so that no one walks in them. Their cities have been made desolate, without a man, without an inhabitant. I said, Surely you will fear me. You will accept correction. Then your dwelling would not be cut off, according to all that I have appointed against you. But all the more they were eager to make all their deeds corrupt. Therefore wait for me, declares the Lord, for the day when I rise up to seize the prey. For my decision is to gather nations, to assemble kingdoms, to pour out upon them my indignation, all my burning anger. For in the fire of my jealousy all the earth shall be consumed. The conversion of the nations. For at that time I will change the speech of peoples to a pure speech, that all of them may call upon the name of the Lord and serve him with one accord. From beyond the rivers of Cush, my worshippers, the daughter of my dispersed ones, shall bring my offering. On that day you shall not be put to shame, because of the deeds by which you have rebelled against me, for then I will remove from your midst your proudly exultant ones, and you shall no longer be haughty in my holy mountain. But I will leave in your midst a people humble and lowly. They shall seek refuge in the name of the Lord. Those who are left in Israel, they shall do no injustice and speak no lies. Nor shall there be found in their mouth a deceitful tongue. For they shall graze and lie down, and none shall make them afraid. Israel's joy and restoration. Sing aloud, O daughter of Zion. Shout, O Israel. Rejoice and exult with all your heart, O daughter of Jerusalem. The Lord has taken away the judgments against you. He has cleared away your enemies. The King of Israel, the Lord, is in your midst. You shall never again fear evil. On that day it shall be said to Jerusalem, Fear not, O Zion, let not your hands grow weak. The Lord your God is in your midst, a mighty one who will save. He will rejoice over you with gladness. He will quiet you by his love. He will exult over you with loud singing. I will gather those of you who mourn for the festival, so that you will no longer suffer reproach. Behold, at that time I will deal with all your oppressors, and I will save the lame and gather the outcast. And I will change their shame into praise and renown in all the earth. At that time I will bring you in, at the time when I gather you together. For I will make you renowned and praised among all the peoples of the earth, when I restore your fortunes before your eyes, says the Lord. And that is it. That is the book of Zephaniah. So, as you can see, the nature of God, he's not just a hippie that loves and only loves. He's loving. He provides you a way out, grants you salvation, but he's a jealous God. He's angry, and he's coming back, and he's gonna lay waste to everyone who isn't walking with him. So, I mean, pretty good reason to walk with this guy. He just doesn't lose. He just wipes everybody out. So there you go. That's the book of Zephaniah. Hope you enjoyed this live stream, and we might potentially do another one here, but I'll keep this short and sweet. And if I feel led to read some more today, I will. But God bless.